no. The only part of that book I've read is my chapter. I didn't need to read anymore. Mine was completely fabricated and it destroyed. I didn't care to read anymore. I have not seen the movie, and I've only read one chapter of the book.
Well, the movie, from what I know, I mean, and from what's admitted, is largely cobbled together truths and half-truths, and then outright fabrications. It's
Hollywoodized, you know. They do it with a purpose. Like I put it into the best quote, I think, Alex. I said it's a propaganda movie with the same, and it's as authentic as Dirty Harry.
Well, I know you're a big fan because a lot of times when we're hanging out, we've talked about. But you've told me you're a fan of Clint Eastwood.
Sure.
I mean, has this changed your view, or do you just think Clint thought it was a neat book and wanted to make a war movie?
You know, I don't know what Clint, Clint's in the business to make movies. That's what he does. It disappointed me that Clint did it, but, it's not Clint's going to do what he wants to do. But the point I make about it being Dirty Harry is this. Dirty Harry's a fabrication. You can't go to San Francisco and look up Dirty Harry Callahan in their police and see that he was a police officer there, because he wasn't. And that's the point I made about the movie. And the fact that Clint directed it, so it's a propaganda movie with as authentic as Dirty Harry, which means it's not authentic at all.
Absolutely, right down to fake babies. Expanding on that, would you have been upset if they would have thrown in you getting beaten up in the movie?
That was one of the reasons it forced me into court. People need to understand this, that they would not talk about restoring my reputation in the four official settlement conferences we had. The Kyle side immediately stated, we won't admit to fabrication and we will do nothing to restore your reputation. We will only talk money. I refused, because this trial for me was not about money. It was about the truth and restoring my reputation. So they forced me to go to court. And yet mainstream media portrayed it, Alex, as you know, I was going after the widow and the children of the war hero. And you know what I'd like to say, Alex? Let's have fun with this for a moment. Let's go back, because I know you understand history well. And I'll quiz you on this. This will be a good one. Let's go back to the late 30s, early 40s, when Nazi Germany invaded Poland, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's go back to there. They invade Poland, they overthrow its government, they occupy them. During the occupation, they also torture Polish people, right? The Nazis. Now, if a Nazi soldier during this invasion and occupation were to have killed 150 or 160 Polish people, a Nazi sniper, would that sniper be viewed as a hero?
By the Nazis he would, but not by the Allies.
Okay, just wanted to hear your opinion on that. So in other words, a hero is in the eye of the beholder. So people of the United States are comfortable with the fact that we invaded a country, we occupied that country, and we tortured the people of that country. And during all of this, some of our women and men in the military doing their jobs killed vast amounts of people in that country. That makes them heroes?
Well, I'll say this. What would Americans do if we got invaded by a foreign army?
Yes.
We would fight back, and we would be called terrorists.
And we would be called insurgents, and we'd be terrorists, and we'd be all, yeah, good point, Alex. What would happen hypothetically? That's phenomenal. If the United States were invaded and somebody from the invading side killed 150 of us, would that person be considered a hero?
Well, it's just a classic cowboy story of the Texan out there, fighting, wanting to do it, for his country, but not happy about killing people. We know from Kyle's own statements that he loved it. So that's my problem. Eastwood should have shown him, calling him, ragheads and all these other racist terms. They should have shown him getting off on it. They should have shown all that and shown the real thing, not the other thing. And what's sad here is Saudi Arabia, we now know, quarterbacked 9/11. we go attack their enemy, Iraq. Iraq didn't do anything, and so that's what makes this so evil. Jesse, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you, Alex. When I made this statement, I think I said it on Alan Combs's radio show. As a veteran, they destroyed my American dream with Iraq because I never believed in my heart, and my mother and father were both WW2 vets, and I never believed in all my heart that I would see the United States line up our military at another sovereign nation's border, lie to us, giving us reasons why they should go in, that we would invade a country, overthrow its government, and occupy the country. And then worst of all, torture people. And then nobody in this country will admit that what we did in Iraq was so wrong.
Jesse Ventura, stay there. We're back in 70 seconds. About how our allies are involved with ISIS and funding them. Here's the clip.
Look, ISIS got started through funding from our friends and allies, because as people will tell you in the region, if you want somebody who will fight to the death against Hezbollah, you don't put out a recruiting poster and say, sign up for us, we're going to make a better world. You go after zealots, and you go after these religious fundamentalists. That's who fights Hezbollah.
But, General, I'm hearing you on...
It's like a Frankenstein.
Okay, and then they go on from there, but for 5 years they've been funding the Free Syrian Army. 2 years ago, our own military came out, so we're not going to be their Air Force. Ted Cruz and Rand Paul, to their credit, came out and said that, so they just changed the name. And Jesse Ventura was here at the time, predicting it, breaking it down accurately. We were as well. We've been proven right yet again. And I'm not bragging. It's not that hard to figure this out once you understand the paradigm of how this works. And now these groups are set to attack us, and they'll try to take our liberties. Governor Ventura, this is a short segment, long segment coming up, but finishing up with terrorism. I'm really concerned about a major event here so they can finish their police state.
Well, I am too. Will that event be a false flag operation? Who will really be running it to make it happen? And I fear it also. I've also said that another one's going to happen. And, to me, the Boston Marathon was a practice run through where they brought in the federal troops and told people to stay in their homes and all that stuff, like a martial law type situation. And certainly if we do get hit with something, hopefully not at the Mall of America, but if they do get hit in some type of situation like that, you can bet the government's going to step in and go through a lockdown procedure, and it's going to depend on whether the American people accept that type of, are they willing to give up their freedoms for safety?
Jesse, let me ask you this question.
And I'm not.
I'm not either. Let me ask you this question. Obviously, they're worried about economic collapse, other issues, but why are the people that run this country accelerating classical police state? Why do they want it in place, and why are they pointing it at the American people? Because it's power, because it's, the separation between the wealthy and the poor. It may be part of the globalization you talk about, Alex, because they can't put us on par with Mexico till they destroy the middle class. That's right. Then you'll have rich, and then you'll have poor, and that's basically what Mexico has: rich and poor. And then they can put us on all the same currency like they've done to Europe. And then it'll work here too. Then I guess. And so and one thing, in order to accomplish that, they have to destroy our Bill of Rights. Because Mexico and other countries don't have bills of rights. And we do, or we used to. I would question whether we actually do today or not. I don't know, because it's being violated constantly. That's why I tell people, young men and women that are enlisting into military service, I always tell them, remember, you're taking an oath to protect the Constitution and Bill of Rights from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Never forget that. Never forget the oath to the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. That's right. There's a bunch of issues I want to get into in the 25 minutes we have left when we go to break, but you're kind of making my case for me about Constitution, government can't act unilaterally, and you basically don't want to be a third world country like Mexico. I'm not against the immigrants, and we'll debate it when we come back, briefly, or longer if you want. It's that they're being used as a tool to drive down wages, and as a new Democratic voting bloc, the Democrats admit this, to vote for gun control and things. So I'm not against the immigrants. I'm against how they're geopolitically being used. So, Governor, we'll come back to you on the other side, Jesse Ventura, and I'll kind of restate that for stations that join us, and then you can give me your take on it. So we'll briefly debate that. And then it's a wild card. I'm going to ask Governor Ventura what he thinks is important and get into some of the subjects he wants to cover. He's been a radio talk show host longer than I have, so I'm sure he can direct the show. Stay with us. Iraq accuses Britain, and they have evidence, of delivering weapons to Islamic State. They've come out and said, the government of Iraq, we know you're really behind it in Saudi Arabia. Ex-FCC chief shocked by Fed's attempt to regulate the internet. If you go to my Twitter account at Real Alex Jones, it is mind-blowing, the links and articles we've got there. 2 days left. 2 days left until this incredibly important piece of legislation will be voted on that will change the web forever, and no one has even seen the FCC's 332-page regulation plan. That's an article up on Infowars.com. And you've got these different Pacific partnerships and deals that are secret that Congress can't even see. I mean, talk about global government. We're in it. We're going to talk about that in a moment with Jesse Ventura. And Jesse, I found 9 times out of 10, we don't really disagree on things, and it's fine to disagree. We just have different perspectives. I get hardworking immigrants are what made this country. I get that you live down in Mexico at least 4 or 5 months out of the year in Baja, and you like it, and you like the people. And I understand the U.S. already, under the age of about 12, is half Hispanic. So America is a Hispanic nation, the United States. It's going to be more so. White people and blacks don't have babies. Whatever, I don't care. I like, quote, Hispanics, okay? My issue is that the Ford Foundation, the globalists, are pushing for open borders. Obama's doing it without Congress. Most of the Republican leadership want it as well. They get here, it was in CBS News, they order the police to not even arrest illegals for drunk driving. So they get all this extra welfare. They can come from China. Women come here, CNN reported, and have their babies, and we pay for them. Nobody else does that, Jesse. So I'm saying I'm not against the immigrants. I know if people are here, hardworking, we should find a way, path toward citizenship. But instead, I see the whole police state only for citizens. As Ron Paul said, the fence is to keep us in, not the illegals out. And I see this entitlement of the illegals that they should get everything for free. That's my issue, and I think the border being pretty much open in many areas shows the war on terror is a fraud. So that's my 2 minutes head-to-head with Jesse Ventura live on immigration. Explain your position and any counter-arguments you have, Governor.
Well, the problem is this. If those things are going on, Alex, then blame our Democrats and Republicans and our politicians for creating programs that can be so easily abused.
I agree.
How hard can it be to say you have to be a citizen in which to get welfare? Seems pretty straightforward to me, but they create a system that can be looped all the time, and then when somebody loops it, we always blame the person that loops the system. Blame the people that created the system. Now, in speaking about freedom, okay, I'll give it to you from a different perspective. Let's say I'm a business owner, and what I'm involved in, I hire people, I do the proper thing, I deduct taxes properly, the whole ball of wax. Why shouldn't I have the freedom to hire who I want, and why should being a citizen have any part of it? I mean, if I wanted to get roofers or people that work with cement, I guarantee you I'm going to look for Mexican people, because when they do cement, they're not cement workers, they're artists. I've watched them, and they're remarkable. And if you look at any roofing crew in America today, at least up in Minnesota, they're all Hispanic on those roofs. So shouldn't an employer have the freedom to hire who they want, who can get the job done? And as long as they deduct properly, those people can't even get a tax refund. They work and it goes into the taxes, and they don't get refunded any of the money.
Well, that's being changed. What about giving the illegals?
Are doing the right thing. See, if the employers are not doing the right thing, which are United States people, and they're not deducting taxes and they're not doing it on the up and up, well, then they're the ones to blame, not the worker.
Well, I don't sit there and hate people from Latin America that want a better life.
No, I know that, Alex. I'm just giving you my opinion that freedom also should be the freedom to hire who I want. If I'm a United States businessman, and why should being a citizen be part of it? Why does U.S. citizenship have anything to do with who I would hire to get the job done?
But listen, what I'm getting at, and your points are valid, I can't go to Mexico and have a baby